Okay, let's just jump right in. We're living in this moment where the word freedom feels, well, it feels really fragile, doesn't it? Like it's something that can be taken away from us at any second. But what if I told you there's a kind of freedom that no one and nothing can ever touch?
No, I'm serious. I want you to really think about that for a second. Right now, as you're listening to this, there is someone, or more likely something, that's trying to control you, trying to put you in a box, tell you who you are, and tell you what you're supposed to do.
And you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's the algorithm on your phone that's deciding what you see and what you don't see. It's the debt that's deciding where you have to work. It's that low-grade, constant fear that's shaping how you live your life. It's this feeling of being managed, of being pushed around by these giant impersonal forces. But what if that's not the whole story? What if that feeling of being controlled isn't the final word? What if there's a deeper kind of freedom, a more resilient freedom, the kind that doesn't care about your circumstances or your bank account or even the political climate? This right here, this is one of the most explosive, radical statements in the entire New Testament. It comes from the Apostle Paul. And let's be super clear. He's not talking about political freedom or financial freedom. He's talking about the bedrock freedom, the one that everything else is built on. And to really get just how powerful this is, you got to understand the fight he was in when he wrote it. All right, so let's zoom in on what was happening in this place called Galatia. Paul had come through and delivered this incredibly simple, powerful message about God's grace. But then, after he left, some other teachers showed up, and they started to mess with everything. So you basically had these two messages clashing. On one side, you've got Paul's message, which is just beautiful in its simplicity. You're saved by grace, through faith. Your status is a free gift, period. But then this other gospel comes along, and it says, whoa, hold on. Grace is a nice start, but it's not enough. You also have to follow all these religious rules to really be in. And here's the dangerous part. It sounded super spiritual, It sounded devout and serious. But Paul saw right through it. He didn't call it next level devotion or, spiritual extra credit. He called it what it was, a yoke of slavery. Because the second your acceptance from God depends on your performance, you're not free anymore. You're just on a treadmill, desperately trying to earn something that was always meant to be a free gift. And listen, when I say Paul was furious, I am not exaggerating. Just look at what he wrote earlier in the same letter. He says, and I'm paraphrasing just a bit, even if one of us, or even an angel from heaven, preaches a gospel other than the one we preached, let them be cursed. I mean, wow. The stakes could not be higher. This wasn't some minor theological disagreement. For Paul, this was a direct attack on the very heart of freedom. Okay, let's get just a little nerdy for a second, because the original Greek here it's just so powerful. The way it's constructed, it literally says, with freedom, Christ freed us. Now, in English, that sounds kind of redundant, right? But it's done on purpose for emphasis. It's making a critical point. The whole purpose of the rescue was the state of freedom itself. The entire point of being saved was so that you could be free. Think about it like this. Christ didn't just save you from a fire just to lock you up in a jail cell, right? He didn't rescue you just to put you in a different kind of prison. No way. He saved you to give you the deed to the house. He hands you the keys. Your status, your belonging, it's all settled. Not because of your performance, but because of his. And that one idea, that your status is settled because of his performance, not yours, that's the key that unlocks everything. Because look, the human heart hasn't changed one bit since ancient Galatia. We are still experts, absolute pros, at finding new yokes of slavery for ourselves, new masters to serve, new ways to try and earn our place. So let's talk about what that looks like today, in our world. I mean, just look at some of these. The yoke of performance, that's the voice that says, I'm only valuable if I'm productive, if I'm succeeding. Then there's the yoke of anxiety, whispering, you have to control every single outcome or everything will fall apart. Oh, and the yoke of consumption. I'll finally be happy when I get that next thing. And a big one today, the yoke of outrage, which tells us my worth is found in my tribe being morally superior to your tribe. See? Every single one of them promises some kind of freedom, but what they actually deliver is just more slavery. Does any of that sound familiar? I mean, really? Does it feel a little too close to home? Because these are the invisible chains that so many of us are carrying around every single day.
Okay, so if those are the yokes, how in the world do we live free? How do we actually do this? Well, Paul gives us a command. It's just 2 words: stand firm. And that's a military term. It's not passive. It means holding the line when you're under attack. It is an active, intentional posture. So, what does that actually look like? Well, here's a 3-step game plan. First, you have to recognize the lie. You have to actually name that voice in your head that's telling you your worth is based on what you do. Second, you have to return to the gospel. You speak the truth over the lie. You remind yourself that your worth is already settled in Christ. And third, you have to refuse to perform. You make a conscious choice to stop trying to earn an approval that has already been given to you as a free gift. And this right here is the absolute game changer. It's the difference between working for acceptance and working from acceptance. See the difference? It doesn't mean you become lazy or you stop caring. Not at all. It just means your motivation is completely transformed. You're no longer hustling for your worth. You're now free to work and create and love from a place of deep security, knowing your worth is already a done deal. Look, the world is always going to offer you a yoke. It will promise you security. It will promise you value, if you'll just bow your head and let it be placed on your neck. But the good news, the gospel, is a declaration that just echoes through time and space. The work is finished. The price has been paid. So stand firm. You are free.